The very last message my wife ever sent to me before our whole world turned upside down was something I truly never could have expected. It came from the person I had loved with all my heart for 12 long years. It was a late Friday afternoon, the kind of day when the sun is starting to get low and you are already looking forward to a weekend and some quiet, peaceful time at home. My phone buzzed on the table next to me, and when I saw her name light up on the screen, I felt a little spark of hope. I honestly thought she was reaching out to tell me she had arrived safely at her destination. I thought she might say she was already missing me or that she was thinking about me while she was away. Instead, when I opened the text, it said, "I am turning off my phone for girls' weekend. Don't bother me." I sat there in a quiet room and read those few words over and over again. I tried to understand why a simple sentence could hurt so much, feeling like a sharp, painful tug at my heart. It was not just about her going on a trip without me. It was the way she said it. It felt like I was not her partner or her best friend, but rather someone she desperately wanted to escape from. For many months, I had felt her slowly pulling away from me, like a small boat drifting out to sea. She always seemed so busy, always looking at something else, and she guarded her phone as if it held secrets she could never share with me. I kept telling myself that every long marriage goes through bumpy roads. I truly believed that if two people loved each other, they could fix anything as long as they tried. But that one cold message made me realize a very sad truth. I was the only person left who was still trying to save our life together. Our life together was not always this way. There was a time, not so long ago, when my wife and I could not even imagine spending a single day apart from one another. When we first started out as a young couple, we had almost nothing to our name. We were just two young people with big hearts and a lot of hope for the future. We built everything we had together, piece by piece. I supported every dream she ever had, and I stood right beside her during every dark and difficult moment life threw our way. I made so many sacrifices because I believed with all my heart that we were a team. We were supposed to be each other's safe place in a busy world. But slowly, almost like the way the seasons change without you noticing, things began to shift. She started coming home later and later each night. She stopped telling me the little stories about her day, the small, funny things that used to connect us. She became annoyed or angry whenever I asked simple, carrying questions about how she was doing. Whenever I tried to sit down and talk about our relationship, she would just wave her hand and tell me I was overthinking things or being too sensitive. I wanted to believe her so badly. I wanted to believe her because accepting the truth was just too painful to face. I did not want to believe that the person I trusted more than anyone else in the world could become a total stranger to me. But then I found messages on her phone that made my heart sink into my stomach. These were not just casual chats with friends. They showed me that she had been hiding entire parts of her life from me. I did not say anything to her right away because I needed some time to breathe and understand what was actually happening to our life together. When my wife told me she was going on a girls' weekend trip, she acted like everything was perfectly normal. She packed her bags with a smile on her face and told me she just needed some time away to relax and clear her head. I forced myself to smile back at her, even though it felt fake and heavy, because I just did not have the energy for another big argument. Deep down inside, I already felt that something was very wrong. Before she walked out the door, she gave me a very quick hug and told me not to worry about anything. But the thing that stuck with me was that she was not worried at all about leaving me behind. She was actually excited to go. After her car drove away and the house became quiet, I sat alone in our living room. I thought about everything that had happened over the past few months. I remembered every message she had ignored, every excuse she had made for being late, and every single time I felt like I was no longer an important part of her life. Then that text arrived on my phone. "I am turning off my phone for girls' weekend. Don't bother me." She probably thought I would get upset or call her and beg her to stay in touch. Instead, I chose to stay silent. I realized that sometimes silence is much more than a loud argument ever could. That weekend, while my wife thought she was just taking a little break from being married, I was making one of the most difficult decisions I have ever had to make in my life. I was not doing it out of anger, and I was not trying to hurt her or punish her. I was simply exhausted. I was tired of fighting for a relationship that only one person seemed to want saved. I reached out to a group of caring experts and began the process of preparing all the legal documents for a divorce. As I walked through our house, I saw years of memories everywhere I looked. I saw the pictures of us laughing on the walls, the furniture we spent hours picking out together, and all those tiny moments that used to make me so happy. It was incredibly painful, but I knew I could not keep living in a house where I felt completely invisible. I took my time and carefully packed some of her things. I made all the arrangements for what would happen next. Then I did something big. I changed the locks on the doors. I did not do it because I hated her, but because I needed to protect my own peace of mind. Finally, I sat down and wrote a long letter. I explained all the pain I had been carrying, all the second chances I had quietly given her, and exactly why I could no longer keep pretending that everything was okay when it clearly was not. A week later, I received another text from my wife saying she was on her way home. Her message sounded totally normal, as if nothing at all had changed while she was gone. She wrote that she missed her own bed and could not wait to just relax at home. It felt so strange to read those words because she had no idea that the home she remembered did not exist anymore. She thought she would just walk to the front door, put her bags down, and keep living her life exactly the way she had left it. But when she pulled into the driveway, she knew something was wrong right away. Her key would not turn in the lock. She tried it again and again, feeling confused and then frustrated. That is when she saw the sealed mailbox and the envelope I had left for her with her name written on the front. She tried to call me immediately, but I did not pick up the phone. I wanted her to read my words first. I wanted her to really understand how I felt without anyone interrupting. In that letter, I told her that our marriage did not end because of one weekend away. It ended because I had been feeling lonely for a very, very long time while standing right next to her. I explained that when she told me not to bother her, I finally decided to listen. I realized that if she didn't want me in her space during her weekend, maybe she didn't really want me in her life anymore. I told her that I was tired of being the only one holding on to a rope while she was trying to let go. I wrote about how much I loved the woman she used to be, but that I could no longer recognize the person she had become. It was the hardest thing I have ever had to write, but it was also the most honest I had been with myself in years. I told her where her bags were, and that our life together as a couple had come to an end. After she read the letter, my wife finally understood what I had been trying to tell her for months. She told me later that she sat outside on the porch and cried for a long time because she never expected things to get to this point. She always thought I would just be there waiting for her, like I always had been before. She believed that no matter what she did or how she treated me, I would always forgive her and take her back. But she forgot one very important thing. Patience has a limit. When we finally spoke a few days later, she asked me why I did not fight harder for us. I told her something she never expected to hear. I said, I was fighting for us long before you even realized we had a problem. I reminded her of every time I tried to start conversation to fix things. I reminded her of every night I stayed up waiting for her to come home so we could talk. I reminded her of every moment I felt her choosing everything else in the world over me. She went very quiet because she knew I was telling the truth. The hardest part for her was realizing that I did not just leave her in one day. I had been slowly losing hope for a long time while she was not paying any attention. In the weeks that followed, she tried very hard to fix the damage. She said she was sorry and admitted she had taken my love for granted. She said she never believed I would actually walk away. That was the part that hurt the most. She did not fear losing me because she thought I would always stay, no matter how she treated me. She thought my love meant I would put up with anything. But love does not mean you have to let someone else destroy your happiness. I listened to her, but I knew that words could not wash away months of deep pain. Trust is like a tall building. It takes many years to finish and only a second to knock down. Eventually, we both had to accept that our marriage was over. There was no joy in walking away. There was a lot of sadness and disappointment. But there was also a sense of peace I hadn't felt in a long time. For the first time in forever, I was not begging someone to love me. I was finally choosing to love myself. Looking back, That weekend she left was the moment my life changed for the better. She thought she was just turning off her phone, but she did not realize that while she was gone, I had finally made peace with letting go. The new locks and the letter were not about revenge or being mean. They were signs that I finally accepted the truth. A marriage cannot live when only one person is trying to keep it alive. I will always value the good years we had together, but I learned that you can love someone without losing who you are. She came home expecting the same old life, but she found that the world had moved on without her, and the man waiting for her was no longer the husband who would always chase after her. He was someone who finally knew his own worth and was ready to start a new, healthier chapter of life.